Okay. Okay. Hi, my name is Malik. I'm a licensed acupuncturist over in the UK. I'm joined today with a good friend and colleague, Hans. Um, he's from the US. Hans has a lot of experience, and we're going to go into that.
I'm
Oh,
actually from Germany. I just happen to live here and work here.
okay, great. Thanks for the correction. So, Hans, if you could just tell me a little bit about your background, please.
Yeah, so I basically decided to go into science after college, biochemistry, biophysics, and I did my PhD at UCI in California and in Germany. And yeah, I was working in science for 25, 30 years and ended up in a typical corporate career in pharmaceutical business, and didn't really have any fun. Matter of fact, I hated it with a passion. And then, you get sick if you do work that you don't really like to do. And, obvious enough, Bob Doan, he fixed my IBS, and then, eventually I got some acupuncture, which, by the way, and a chiropractor suggested that to me 10 years prior. And, she said, why don't you go get some acupuncture? And I said, are you crazy? What's a bunch of needles going to do, right? So 10 years with back pain, right? And then, I finally ended up getting the 10 courses, by Bob Doan's clinic, and then basically found out, this is just amazing. I'm wasting my time doing anything else. And yeah, so I went back to school and basically started this new career. And I swore to myself, I'll never get back into science and biochemistry, but now I'm back into that. I started doing stem cells about 4 years ago. And I started doing, basically a lot more research in the last few years. And I would say that, I'm more into science now than I ever was. And all of that career background, was initially, it was a turnoff, because, what I realized is that there's a huge separation between science and practice, medicine practice. So they keep the scientists as far away from the real life as possible. And they do that on purpose, right? Because they really don't want any changes. They want to control medicine to the very bone of it. And they want to sell their drugs and surgeries. And, if the scientists actually ever see, the results of what they're working on and the side effects and, the non-functionality of their work, they would all rebel. And so in a sense, I was brainwashed, we were brainwashed, and they almost kicked me out of Chinese medicine school, because you really have to rewire your brain for 6 months in order to understand that there is a real medicine out there. And so then, now I'm here and I learn every day, and it's a fascinating journey. Chinese medicine in combination with modern biomedicine is the way to go.
Brilliant. Yeah. And I know you, as well as acupuncture, you do herbs as well, don't you? Chinese herbs.
Yeah, you see the herbs in the background. I get trained by Jimmy Chang, who is probably one of the most foremost experienced herbalists in the world, 40 years of experience. And, modern internet basically allows you to get answers instantly. In the old days, you had to follow a master over in China for a year and, do as you're told, and you probably didn't learn very much. Nowadays, it's pretty much instant. And, medicine is a practice, and every patient is different. And if you don't get that practice, you don't know medicine. And it is very, very crucial that you learn every day and you learn and adjust every day. So even herbs adjust and they evolve. And, if you move to a different climate, your herbs will adjust. So all of that is extremely important. And I learn every day when it comes to herbs. And obviously, if you practice good herbal medicine, you got it down to whatever, 10, 15 formulas that work. But like I said, every patient is different. And the diagnosis is actually the most important part of the whole process. So, I have a lady just came in and she wants to go and get pregnant in a typical fertility case. And, it doesn't make any sense if your digestion is screwed up, right? So I can give her a formula to, basically boost her ovary production and everything else. But if her digestion is bad, if she's nauseous in her stomach, then you need to treat that first. The diagnosis comes first. And often the patient doesn't tell you the truth. So then you have to actually know how to read the pulse and read all of the vital signs that Chinese medicine provides. And after a while, you actually get so good that you don't have to read the pulse anymore. You can basically guess it. And the beauty of this medicine, though, is that we're extremely flexible and that we treat, the root of the problem. We don't just focus on branch, what Chinese medicine calls branch or the tip. We focus on, what's really at the bottom of the most important problem right now. And then if you zoom in on that problem, like the digestion, then you can basically address everything else simultaneously.
It's strange. You touched a little bit about Western medicine. So you've got extensive experience, obviously, in science. I think 20, 30 years. Question I had this evening, a text message, someone asking me, a patient, are herbs safe? And what are there any side effects? And I'm thinking, they've just gone through I don't know how many years with Western medicine with its side effects. They don't question that, but first thing they question was Chinese medicine with Chinese herbs. What are the side effects? And can you guarantee, I mean, what do you say to people like that?
I mean, it's absolutely fascinating how much we've been lied to and how much we've been brainwashed. And if you think about it, number one, why do herbs work, right? All drugs, that are really effective, most of them, there's exceptions like ibuprofen, are derived from herbs, right? And we know that humans came to this point in evolution only through the help of plants. This study is called ethnobiology. So basically how plants evolve around humans and how humans evolve around plants. So, my old professor from SciOm, Paul Karsten, he told me the story once, this guy is going through the rainforest and interviewing the tribal people there, and they basically take him on this tour and this plant's for this problem and here you can treat that, and he writes it all down, and then he starts laughing and he goes back to his village, and then the village people all laughing. It's like, why are you laughing? Well, it's just funny that you wrote all of this down. It doesn't work like that. You have to ask the plant what you want it to do. So ethnobiology is real. And the bottom line is that the plants have no interest in making any of these alkaloids and whatever ingredients are in there, with the exception of a few antifungals. They really have no interest in doing any of that. They did it for us. And that's the reason why we're here. And the difference with taking a drug versus an herb is that basically the herb is well-rounded. And we never ever prescribe single herbs. So there's all these people out there who take raspberry leaves, for example. So, my 90-year-old mother is a good example. I mean, she takes an herbal tea, that wasn't prescribed, and, she takes it for constipation. not only does she still have constipation, but she also has toxic side effects because raspberry leaves are toxic. And you ask yourself why the FDA still allows raspberry leaves to be out there, right? And they want people to have side effects. They want people to shy away. But if you properly prescribe an herbal formula, there are no side effects. And the toxicity, of course, is there because every drug is by definition toxic, but your liver will process it just like it processes caffeine or any other drug that you're taking into your body. Any foreign chemical that you ingest has to be processed by the liver. By definition, your kidney will not excrete it. It has to be processed. That's why the P450 enzymes exist in our liver, and you will adjust to the toxin. The question is, if you bombard yourself with a single herb for, weeks or months to come, that is not good for your body. And that's when it becomes toxic. And of course, there are ingredients that are more toxic than others. I mean, they told us in Chinese medicine school how dangerous mutong is, for example. And, we barely prescribe that. Those are exceptions, right? So I would say 99% of the time herbs are safe, and they are definitely well taken, no side effects if they are prescribed by a professional.
Okay, brilliant, excellent. I know you're limited for time. If you could just tell me, what are some of the top conditions that people come to you for, or that you specialize in?
Well, top conditions is hard to say. When most people have pain, most people have a condition that they don't even know they have. Like I said earlier, they come in for, oh, I want to get pregnant. Okay, fine. Yeah, you want to get pregnant, but how are you going to do that if your stomach doesn't work, right? So digestive issues is always number one. I would say top conditions are definitely pain, which are hard to treat by herbs. And that's why we have acupuncture, right? Because that's a brain thing, that's a nervous system thing. However, we have the best ibuprofen, we have the best painkillers. And the number one thing that we actually do is blood moving. So we get the oxygen, the qi, right? The Chinese knew that there was something in the blood that is not blood, and they called it qi. It's separate from the blood. It's very clear that the classics say that it is separate from the blood. They knew that there's something in the blood. They didn't have a concept of atoms, right? That will basically nourish every cell in your body. So number one is you got to get the qi to the cell, right? You need to blood move. And so that in itself is not a condition. It's not like, I'm going to come in here today to get herbs for blood moving. Nobody's going to say that, right? But the reality is that circulation is the number one thing.
Good. Excellent. And do you get good results in your clinic?
Yeah, if you don't get 80-90% good results in your practice, you're basically practicing a placebo. And most of the time, Western medicine practices a nocebo. So that's basically when you get below 50 to 45% is the placebo effect. It can actually go up to 60% or more when it's administered by a doctor. So the placebo effect is extremely high, and people get better, sure, but why? Because it's a placebo, right? So if you don't get 80-90% results, you're not practicing medicine. You're practicing I don't know. And I definitely think that people need to look closely at their results.
Good. You must be very good at what you do, especially being a mile from Bob's clinic.
Yeah.
So amazing. Hats off to you.
It's fun. And can we just cut this off right now, and then continue at another time and then splice it together?
Okay, sure.
Because it's an interesting talk we have here. So unfortunately, it's bad timing.
Okay, that's fine. Just lastly, if someone wants to contact you, how do they contact you? Just your website and your phone number, please.
Yeah, so natureworksacupuncture.com, 206-595-39 595-3388.
Brilliant. Excellent.
595-3388.
Great. Excellent, Hans. I know you've got a patient waiting. Thank you very much for your time, and very interesting.
Yeah, let's talk again soon.
Yes. Thanks, Hans.
Okay, talk to you
Brilliant, mate.
later.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.